Hi, Geometry. We're going to try today to do notes on your own. So you're going to watch the video and you're going to answer the questions in Edpuzzle, and I'm going to take the Edpuzzle grade as your grade, as well as a grade for turning in the completed notes just as usual. All right, so here we go. So we were continuing to talk about the congruence of triangles. And in our picture right here, we've got three identical triangles. They just have different names on them. We have triangle ABC, we have triangle DEF, and we have triangle GHI, right? So let's remind each other what this means if I say that I have triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. We would know that angle A is congruent to angle D. We would know angle B is congruent to angle what? E. And we would know angle F is congruent to which one? Angle C. We would also know that side AB is congruent, the same size to side DE. We would know side BC is congruent to what? EF. And side AC or CA is congruent to which one? DF. Okay, so that's what we've learned about so far, right? So today we're going to talk about some properties that we have about these congruent statements. The first one we're going to talk about is the reflexive property. And all the reflexive property says is that every triangle is congruent to itself. Okay, so we use the reflexive property to say that I am me, right? Triangle ABC is triangle ABC. They're the same size, they're the same shape, okay? Next one is symmetric property. Okay, now this one says that every congruent statement can be reversed. Okay, so that means if triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, then we could reverse the sides and say triangle DEF is congruent to triangle ABC. So symmetric is not necessarily about changing the order of the letters A, B, and C, and D, E, and F. It's about changing the two sides of the congruent statement. So the stuff before the congruent just moves to the end, and the stuff at the end just moves to the beginning. And lastly, our transitive property. Our transitive property is a lot like syllogism that we did before, which was if I am friends with somebody else and somebody else introduces me to their friend, then by that link, I am friends with the person all the way at the end. Okay, I could take out the friend in the middle and still say we are friends because of that connection. Okay, so this is the same idea. So look at what they're doing. I'm going to highlight it in a few different colors. Okay, so we start out with triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. And then they say, okay, and triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI. So that means that I don't need the pink triangle anymore, and I could just go straight from blue, ABC, triangle ABC, to green, triangle GHI. Okay, all right, and then the last one, let's do a little bit of practice. So in this one, it says, draw two congruent triangles described, label their vertices and their side lengths. So remember, we did one of these yesterday, or the last time I saw you guys. It feels like yesterday. So I'm just going to draw two random triangles, and I'm going to call this one ABC, and I'm going to draw another triangle over here, and I'm going to call this one D, E, and F. So they told me side AB is 6. They told me that side GF is 8. Oh, did I not do this right? I did not do this right. Okay, so it's EFG. I am so sorry. Let's go back and fix this. Okay, so this is triangle E, F, and G. Okay, so they said side GF is 8. Got that. And they said that side AC, which is on the first triangle, is a 10. Okay, so what else do we know about that? Well, we know that they're congruent, which means their pieces parts are congruent. Remember that CPCTC, congruent parts of corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so if I'm looking for BC, that is a green number, and notice it doesn't have the segment above it because we're actually looking for a number instead of the actual puzzle piece. So if I don't know what this is, I can go over to its neighboring triangle that it's congruent to and go and find its number, which means this has to be an 8. Okay, EF is on the second triangle, and if I don't know what that is, I can go and find its counterpart over here and say that that has to be 6. And lastly, if they are asking me for EG and I don't know it, I can go to its congruent triangle that says it's a 10. Okay, all right, so that's our main idea. Next, we're going to do a little bit of multiple choice practice together. Okay, so here is the first one. They are saying that we have two triangles that are congruent, GHI and LMN. Which of the following congruent statements are correct? And they said check all that apply. That means there's probably going to be more than one answer. Okay, so remember I have those 6 statements, right? Is IG in the same spot as LM? So IG is right from here to here. Nope, it'd be L and N, so it's not that one. Yeah, I just made a kind of smiley face with that little triangle for a nose. How about GH? Well, GH is the first 2 letters of this triangle, so is it LM on the other side? It is, so this is one we want. How about angle M and angle H? Okay. So angle M was the middle letter, so it should be middle letter H. It is, so that one works. Okay, I'm going to erase all the scribble so that we can go back and do this again. Keep going with all of our other answers. Okay, so switching back to pink here, what about IH? IH is these 2 at the end, so that would be MN or N or MN. So IH and NM, they are in the same spot, so those work. All right, next one, how about N and I? Are they in the same space? N is the last angle, I is the last angle. That is correct. Okay, and then the last one, are L and I in the same place? L is the first letter, G is the first, nope, that's a no. Okay, so we have all 4 of those, B, C, D, and E that are correct. So we just match them up, letter by letter. What position are they in? Are they in the first spot, the second spot, or the third spot? All right, next one. Which property is illustrated here, right, by the statement? So they just said triangle RAG is congruent to triangle RAG. Which property said that triangles are congruent to themselves? Do you remember? Which property said triangles are congruent to themselves? That was reflexive property, where you just say something is the same as itself. All right, next one. Which property is illustrated by this one? Switch over to blue. So this one has 3 triangles, and it says if DEF is congruent to X, Y, and Z. So if this one is congruent to this one, ooh, I missed a spot. Hold on, I missed a statement ahead of time. It says if ABC is congruent to DEF, and DEF is congruent to XYZ, then this first one is congruent to the last one. So that was like my friend, right? If I have a friend and they have a friend, then me and their friend should be friends. Okay, so that would be which one? That was the one that started with a T, transitive property. All right, 3 more. Assume that we have triangle EFG and it's congruent to JKL. Now again, they're going to give us some angles of, looks like, of the second triangle, right? So we've got a J, a K, and an L. So they're giving us all the angle measures of the second triangle. And they want to know what is the measure of angle E. So measure of angle E was the first angle here, so it should be the same angle as J. So how much was angle J? It was 90 degrees. Okay, so first letters should match up with first letters. All right, here we have if ABC is congruent to DEF and MNO is congruent to PQR, then ABC and PQR are congruent by the transitive property. No, we have to have a mutual friend. So if ABC is friends with DEF, then we need another friend of DEF. Okay, and if MNO is friends with PQR, then we need another friend of PQR. So this is false. This is not the transitive property. They didn't line them up correctly. We should have a middleman that is friends on both sides. Okay, and then the last one, which is an example of the symmetric property. So the symmetric property, remember, is where you just move things on the other side of the congruent statement, but you keep the letters in the same order. So we should have two statements. We should have the first one, and then we should have the one that is flipped. So it can't be A because that's just one statement. Let's check B. KLM is congruent to PQR. So did they move PQR to the first? Yes, they did. And did they move KLM to the end? They did not, so it's not this one. C, KLM is congruent to PQR, and PQR is congruent to STU. No, that's the transitive property. That's the middleman one. Okay, so we're down to D. Let's hope it's D. KLM is congruent to PQR. So this should just be moved to the front, and it is. And this should be moved to the back. It is. So this is answer D. Awesome. All right, don't forget to submit these completed notes. If you were writing this on paper, you don't have to write down every single multiple choice option. You can just write down the ones that we decided at the end. And Edpuzzle, don't forget to submit that, upload your notes, and then you are going to go ahead and you are going to do 2.3.4 in Apex before we meet again tomorrow. All right, that's it, you guys. See you tomorrow.